This minimalist wants more. Enough-ism is the journey, a path to peace and joy. The world is full of distractions. Through mindfulness, we can find solace. You are enough with what you are and what you have right now, but so often we forget in our pursuit of more. So let us pause, be fully present, and appreciate the good in our lives and the good yet to come. Together, we can find enough-ism. I'm your host, Reverend Yugen Bond, a retired material girl, author of Enough-ism, This Minimalist Wants More, a journalist, editor, and former professor and lecturer. This show explores mindfulness, meditation, and minimalism through conversations with people around the world about their journey towards Enough-ism. For more, visit IamEnough-ism.com. Enjoy the show. Journaling is a great way to practice mindfulness. There is a beautiful thing about buying a brand new journal with blank pages, turning that cover open, and knowing that one day you are going to fill up every single page in that notebook. There's something very cathartic about taking a pen as opposed to typing and texting and actually writing down your thoughts. I want to talk about how journaling is a really interesting, productive, and provocative way to practice mindfulness and to really bring yourself into your mind, into your body, into your whole self. And I think the key takeaway is that journaling is a lot easier than you may think. And it doesn't have to be this intimidating kind of chore where every day you're like, oh, that journaling thing, I got to open up my journal and fill up a page. I don't know what to write about. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this also from my experience as a writing professor and also my experience leading a journaling and meditation group with about 1,200 people strong right now over on Meetup. If you want to join that group, by the way, we meet about twice a month, and you can join from anywhere you are. It is virtual and it's free. And I'll put that link in the show notes. And I'll be talking about some key themes that we talk about in that group as well. But in this podcast, I want to talk about how journaling can practice or can help you practice mindfulness. So the first way is journaling can help you pay attention to your thoughts and to your feelings. So I'm going to talk about some techniques and some things you can do in your journal. So one thing is every day or every week or, whenever it makes sense for you, open up to a blank page in your journal. What do? Write at the top of your page an emotion that you're feeling. It can be positive, it can be negative, it can be neutral, but something that you kind of want to sit with. So for many people, I guess maybe they feel more inclined to focus on a negative emotion or something that's bringing them anxiety. Now, of course, you can also focus on something that's bringing you joy and happiness. Either way, whatever you're going through, whatever you need for that day, at the very top of your page, write that emotion down. So joy, anxiety, stress, unease, happiness, anxiety, scared, whatever it is, just write that down. And then what you do is you can time yourself if you want to. Put a timer on for 5 minutes, a minute, whatever feels right for you. Or you can just free flow and just write. And just write on that emotion. So for example, I feel blank today. I feel blank today because, and you can just continue on and just fill the page. And if you want to fill up more pages, go for it. Whenever you feel like you have a good stopping point, even if it's just halfway down the page, that's fine. And I think the key is there's no right or wrong way. So you just keep going and you just keep writing. And it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It doesn't have to be where the spelling is perfect. It doesn't have to be where you feel like you're writing this perfect novel that someone else is going to read and understand. It only has to make sense to you. If you feel kind of uncertain about like actually writing stuff down, like if you feel like someone else is going to read it, write in code or write with abbreviations, or maybe draw some pictures if that serves you. And you can give a situation a name. So for example, if you're going through a divorce and you don't want to say divorce, give it a name, or give it a title or something where it only makes sense to you, if that feels good. And there's different psychological benefits to doing that as well. So for example, there's a power in giving something a name because it kind of like separates it out from yourself. It kind of makes it like this entity or this being that's kind of outside of your day-to-day. And if you relabel it, that can help. If you feel stuck just writing a page or filling it out, just do bullets. That's fine. So you have that emotion at the top of the page, and then you just write down with bullets. This is how I feel today. And it all stems from this emotion. And you just keep going down the page. And, if you feel like when you get to the end, you've reached a natural stopping point, then that's it. And close your journal. If you want to keep writing until you feel like you're done. And what's very powerful to kind of incorporate journaling with mindfulness is after you close your journal, like right after, you're going to be in kind of this like dreamy meditative state, right? Because you're going to be kind of processing things and thinking about things. Take a minute or 5 minutes or however long you feel like you need, and just sit in silence. Sit with that journal in your lap or on your table, wherever you are, and just focus on that emotion. Sit with it. And what you can also do is, like, say like the next day you want to journal again and do the same thing, or the next week or whatever it is, take a minute to go back and look at the last page you wrote, or kind of scroll through the last pages you wrote, whether that's bullets or photos, or not photos, sorry, drawings, or hey, I guess you could also stick photos in, right? There's no right or wrong. If you wanted to like collage, that could be journaling too. But you might find, and I find this sometimes, is when you're looking through your journal, you kind of go, oh, I wrote that down. That's stupid. Like, that's a stupid thing to think about, or that's an anxiety that no longer serves me, or, oh, I was so worried about that thing and it doesn't really matter anymore, or there's no sense in churning on it anymore. And maybe that doesn't resonate with you. Maybe you have other realizations, but maybe you realize, what? Like, I've been writing about the same thing in my journal for the last 18 days. And that's okay, but I need to make a change. And that was one of my key takeaways when I journal. I realized that I kind of tend to stew or focus or kind of swirl around on like the same 3 talking points. So like for me, it made me realize, oh, I need to do something about this, because otherwise I'm going to waste like weeks and months and years of my life journaling on the same 3 things. So it gives you clarity. So that's kind of where the mindfulness and the journalism aspect kind of melds together. It's very powerful. And essentially what it does is, like, when you're journaling on that way, you are kind of forced to slow down and pay attention to what's going on in your head. It makes you become more aware of your thought patterns. And essentially what you're doing is you're taking your thoughts and you're putting them down on paper. And then you're processing your thoughts in a different way, because you're actually able to kind of visualize and look at what you're thinking. And it gives you a new perspective on it. It's very powerful. The other thing you can do, this is kind of a part 2 of this podcast, is you can use journaling to process complex, challenging, painful emotions. So when you write about your emotions, you are able to essentially give them a voice. You are able to give them power, and you are able to start to understand your emotions better. So this is a great way to help you let go. to help you let go of things that don't longer serve you, to help you let go of negative emotions, and to help you move on. And just how we talked about how journaling gives you clarity, journaling, it lets you process. So it's not necessarily just about writing stuff down, but take the time to really think about, have I been writing about the same thing over and over again, just like I said? And, that might be even something that you journal on is, I'm not just going to journal today on whatever, a negative emotion. I want to journal on, like, have I been writing about the same thing over and over again? Or you could, at the top of your page, write down, okay, I'm going to make a list of emotions that have, keep coming up for me over and over again. There are all different ways you can use your journal. You can use it kind of as a way to record or document or notice patterns. You can even color code your journal. So say after you finish writing a page, you can color, like get a highlighter, a yellow highlighter, for example. And anytime you write about a certain topic, like just color code it. And then that gives you a way, like when you're scanning through your journal, you can say, wow, there's a lot of yellow in here. Yellow is every time I write about something that I'm angry about. I'm angry often. I want to change that, and maybe that doesn't serve you, but you'll find your own patterns and your own kind of realizations. And that's something that we do in my meditation group as well. We kind of look at patterns. A third thing you can do when you're journaling is you can do a guided meditation. So you can find one on YouTube or find one on Spotify, for example. And while you're doing the guided meditation, maybe you want to pause for a second and write down what you're feeling or write down what you're going through. So you can maybe just turn to a new page in your journal, write down at the top, maybe the name of the guided meditation, or write down an intention that you have for that meditation. And maybe, at different spots in the guided meditation, you pause and you write down what you're feeling or what you need. And you just make a bolded list. So you're kind of interacting and engaging with that guided meditation, and you're able to record essentially your emotions. And that's what we do actually in my meetup group, is we will do a guided meditation that I will lead. And then throughout the meditation, I will have participants pause and they will write down what they're feeling, or they will write down their emotions. And you can do this on your own, obviously. You don't have to do one that's tailored like that. But it's a really interesting way, because when you do a really good guided meditation at the end, you feel different. You feel good. But it's kind of a cool thing to do, to record. Another thing you can do when you journal is you can set your goals and you can set your intentions. So you can just have a page or a section in your journal where you write down what you want to do more of or less of. Because remember, a goal is not necessarily something I want to do more of. It could also be something you want to do less of, or something you want to change, or something you want to add or take away in your life. So maybe in your journal, you have different sections or chapters and you return back to them when you need them. You can kind of mark them off with a Post-it note or kind of a tab so that it's easier for you to find them. And maybe every day you spend some time just adding to that list of goals. And it doesn't necessarily mean because you write it down, you have to do it. But what you're doing is you're kind of like opening up the floodgates in your mind. And you're kind of thinking, okay, what is something I want to achieve and do more of? And what happens is you kind of start tapping into that part of your brain. And essentially, it's a meditation. You're asking yourself what you want to do more of. You're expanding outwards. It's a really beautiful thing. Another thing you can do, a final thing you can do that we'll talk about today when you're journaling, to kind of tie journaling into mindfulness, is keeping either an entire journal, if you wish, or a section in your journal for gratitude. So I have a section in my journal where I just write down things I'm grateful for, and I add to it every day. It can be very simple things, it can be very big things. And it's really cool to look at that list because even just kind of scanning through it, every bullet point that I have triggers a memory. It triggers a positive memory, a positive interaction. For example, whether it's the most incredible thunderstorm that I watch from the window that made me question my existence, or uh, petting a really cute dog, and it made me really happy. It made me think about all the kindness and the goodness in the world and how animals love us no matter what. Having a really great conversation with a friend. Yesterday, for example, I had a really good kind of girl chat, life chat with one of my friends. Made me feel really good. I'm really grateful to have people in my life like that who support me, who lift me up, who give me advice. Very, very grateful for that. So write that down in my journal. So it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to kind of document and record. And again, that's really kind of the key theme to all of this is documenting and recording your thoughts. So I'm grateful for this person or this situation. That's a thought. I want to write that down. Because when I compile all that together, it's going to make me feel strong and it's going to make me feel empowered. And guess what? When you have a really bad day or a tough day, go to that page, open it up, look at it, and you'll feel really great and really beautiful and really strong and really empowered. And that's it. And when you fill up your journal with thoughts and things like that, it really just improves your life. So journaling is a wonderful way to practice mindfulness, to connect with yourself on a very authentic level, on a deep level, and to really build a relationship with yourself and to check in with yourself. It's a really cool thing. So I encourage you, give journaling a try. And even if you've tried it for a long time, or if you're just kind of thinking about it, try it out. And, find new ways to make your journal work for you and to make it serve you and to make it something that you're really proud of. Journaling can be a part of your life that really becomes almost like a sacred act, essentially. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. My name is Reverend Eugen Bond. And my meetup group, if you're interested in joining, it's called Live Your Best Freaking Life, Meditation and Journaling. And I'll drop a link to the show notes if you're looking to join that. And if you're looking to start your own journaling practice, I hope that you have a really beautiful experience. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you on the flip side. Congratulations. You've reached the end of the Enough-ism podcast. Show some love if you'd like by subscribing and leaving a review. If you wish to support the show, you can download the Enough-ism ebook, now available on Amazon, by visiting IamEnough-ism.com. Make a Venmo donation if you'd like at Enough-ism. Questions or comments? Want to be a guest on the show? Drop me a note at enough-ismpodcast@gmail.com. I'm Reverend Eugen Bond. Remember, we are all enough just the way we are. See you next time.